little more clearly. He's much more collaborative in his approach.
Gotcha.
And motivating is the thing. I don't know. We can probably move on to where Herschel and Rick are talking outside.
Mm-hmm.
And
kind of already mentioned that.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about.
So what are we? We're ready to.
I think that's it.
Move the feedback. It feels like.
Yeah, we can do that. We need to do some pimping of anything first.
The promotions, yes.
Yeah.
Don't forget about our contest. Please check out our Spreadshirt site at baldmove.com or baldmove.spreadshirt.com. I think the t-shirt designs are pretty sweet. Love to see what the public reaction is to that. We are part of the Bald Move Network, and you can find all of our content at baldmove.com, including our coverage of The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, Mad Men, Breaking Bad, our general TV podcast that we're doing right now. By the way, Game of Thrones coming back end of March, and the trailers are looking amazing. Mad Brew and I are going to come back the week before to break down a preview cast based on what we've seen in the trailers and on the spoiler section, kind of what we're expecting to see from the book. And then the week later, Jim and I spin the Mad Men machine back up.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to that because that was a fun cast last year.
It was, and it's... I say one of the best shows on TV. I can't give it the best.
I will say it's the best current TV show
Breaking
right
Bad
now.
is so good.
It's good, but it's not
watchable.
Mad Men good. Yeah, I don't know. Mad Men's
I think we
fucking
just judge on different
entertaining.
standards.
Agreed. Well, we'll leave it at that.
Okay. Then why don't we go to the feedback?
Sure.
We got some old feedback, just one from last week. Rachel writes in, says, I'm a few weeks behind because we're watching as we have time. So like other listeners, I was expecting a not-so-good episode for home and was pleasantly surprised. And she says that show called Borgia is pronounced Borgia, like Jamaican, but with a Z in it.
Like Jamaican?
Yeah.
Borgia? How's Borgia and Jamaican like anything?
Jamaican? Borgia?
Oh, okay. I got you. I'm like, what the fuck?
And that was just in response to us not knowing how to pronounce that.
Cool.
New feedback.
I'm slightly less ignorant.
Possibly the same Rachel. I'm not sure. This one's from Cleveland. She says, hey, Jim and Aaron, best episode of the second half. Thank God. Some stray observations. Seed reference. The Rick/Governor negotiating barn had seed clearly displayed across one of the beams. A pretty obvious reference to the first episode of the season. What do you guys make of this? I did see that, but I have no clue how it relates to this episode. So in the barn where they're negotiating, there's a sign up on the thing that says seed.
Uh-huh. Oh, the title of the...
Actually, I'm not sure that said seed. I think that might have said feed. F-E-E-D.
Right. Yeah, I don't remember seeing it say seed, and it would definitely be a feed silo, but it can also have seeds in it. Hell, I don't know. I'm not a farmer. That's to talk to my dad about that.
That's your answer? Not a farmer?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Woodbury residents, they're just like us. I don't know what that means. And I thoroughly enjoyed the Daryl Martinez pissing match. Love that Milton is described the zombie apocalypse. I hope we get to hear more from his notes between the new enlightened Andrea and his long disapproving stare at the governor. At the end of the episode, Milton's definitely looking to join Rick's group at the end of the season. Sorry, Aaron.
No, I actually think that he... I'm guessing, because we don't have any spoilers for the second week in a row, I'm guessing that it's going to come down to him and Andrea versus the governor, and Andrea's going to be the one that survives, and he's going to be the one that dies, and my liver is going to be the one that celebrates.
She does bring up something kind of interesting about Milton in this last scene. That stare that he gives the governor obviously lies to Milton here. Very obviously. It's ridiculous. So when they're talking, the governor says something, and he says, that is a slaughter. And he says, not on our end. We're going to have to eliminate Rick sooner or later. That way we can all live side by side. And Milton rightfully looks at him like he's a fucking idiot. Mm-hmm. Because you just said we're going to slaughter all of them so that we can live side by side? Who is we in this sentence?
Well, I think he's like, isn't he talking about the leftover survivors of the prison?
After they slaughter them. So if little baby ass kicker survives, they'll live side by side.
So they definitely said that they kill everyone and not just Rick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, everyone except Michonne, and I don't think he wants to live side by side with her.
True. Very true. Okay.
I don't know. And Milton gives him this look like he's out of his mind,
Yeah.
and I'm glad he does. And then he goes and, after telling Milton exactly what they're going to do, he lies within earshot of Milton right to Andrea's face. And he says it loudly to where I don't even think this guy knows what he's doing anymore. He's so far off the deep end. He's just saying whatever anybody wants to hear,
Right.
with no thought for consequence.
Exactly. And that's kind of what I mentioned last week is that his lies are getting worse.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I feel like he somehow flipped a switch in that he's just using people like blatantly. Like before it was just incidental, but now, like as soon as you get wise to his bullshit, he'll just kill you and find some other route that he's taken in. Like, for example, Tyrese's whole crew.
Yeah. That
So,
should be interesting.
Yeah.
Aaron writes in, says, "Hey guys, I felt compelled to write in for 3 reasons. 1, you both need a lesson on how to pronounce the name Aaron. It's Aaron, not Aaron. I think we know that.
That's a joke.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, I'm also not Aaron.
Yeah. I know quite a few Aarons, so.
Me too.
Surprise, surprise. Secondly, I love you both. There, I said it.
Oh,
Very
also
nice
given.
of you. 3, I fucking love to be a hater of The Walking Dead, and I appreciate that the both of you do too. I wish I couldn't be a hater. I wish there was no reason for me to be a hater.
Yeah, I mean, so we've got this kind of weird relationship with Walking Dead. We both like the show.
Yeah. I enjoy watching the show.
We started off thinking the show was going to be one thing, which
Mm-hmm.
was kind of season 1. Season 2 kind of threw as a curveball. Now we're kind of readjusting to what season 3 is, and who the hell knows what season 4 is going to be.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun to cover, and
Mm-hmm.
we, despite what you might think, we do enjoy the show. We would watch this show and talk about it regardless of whether we were doing a podcast.
But
we would be laughing and ripping on a lot of this stuff
we seriously considered quitting after season 2.
after the midpoint of season 2.
Yeah.
Because we're like, man, if it don't get any better,
If it doesn't end better than this.
the thing is, that's the thing. You can't nega cast or nega blog or whatever. It just eventually consumes you to where you're looking for problems rather than noticing them.
Yeah.
Like I still contend we are noticing flaws. I'm not really trying hard to look for them.
We're not manufacturing them.
Right. So, yeah, that's all I got to say on that subject.
Well, that's not all she has to say. She goes on, anyone who watches this show and believes that this is the picture of TV perfection is a blind-ass waffle. I don't know what that means, but it's funny.
Blind ass waffle?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I haven't loved to hate on a show this much since Battlestar Galactica. Oh, come on. I kind of like Battlestar Galactica. Until the end.
I'll join the hate on that.
I know. You hated it.
I really hated. Like, I was surprised at
Yeah.
how much I hated it.
That's shocking to me. With that said, I think this is a great show, but it has some laughable imperfections that I love to gripe about. Take this week's episode, for instance, Arrow on the Doorpost. Maggie and Glenn are trying to bone on the prison's veranda, and he tells her that he can't because the zombies are 200 some yards away and are growling and snarling at them through the fence. So they move inside and get it on. Fast forward to later on in the episode when Rick and company get back to the prison from their meeting with the governor, and Carol and Carl are down opening the gate. As Carol opens the gate, there's a zombie standing literally 5 feet from them and staring in the other direction, totally oblivious to Carl and Carol, who are feet away and only separated by that gate fence. So why the fuck was it that 10 minutes earlier in the episode, the zombies that were hundreds of yards from Maggie and Glenn were ready to eat their faces, but the zombies that were feet away from Carol and Carl could care less? That's a good question. Yeah. She says, overall, I mostly enjoyed the episode. I definitely felt like one of those season 2 talkie setup episodes. However, unlike a season 2 talker episode, there wasn't 20 minutes of Lori chopping cucumbers. Instead, we had 20 minutes of Andrea giving a smashy face. What is smashy face?
Is that the version of a savage face?
I think so.
Is this is a cell phone message? Savage got auto-corrected to smashing?
It might have. I don't know. It's in quotes. So, season 2's Lori chopping cucumbers is this season's Andrea making smashy face. I want all of our listeners to send in pictures of them, what they think smashy face is.
or Photoshop Andrea, or get a screen capture.
I'm gonna make a collage. Okay, any listeners who send in pictures of them doing smashy face, I'm gonna make a collage around Andrea in the center with big smashy face and post it on the website.
Wow.
I'm doing that.
Don't make the listeners promises you won't fulfill, man.
I just want to see if they fulfill it.
Oh, okay.
If I only get two pictures, it's going to be a pretty lousy collage. Anyway, moving on to Silvio, who says, this show is really testing my patience on some things. Whenever two hostile parties agree to sit down to talk in a non-post-apocalyptic world, it's because there are assurances to each other in the form of hostages, someone who vouches for each party, or a meeting in a very public place. The Godfather used the first one. In The Wire, the latter two applied. This keeps anyone from opening fire on the other. Yeah, that's a good point. But in this world, what was to keep Rick from just blowing the governor away at the first sign of his snickering ass?
Or vice versa.
Exactly.
Good point.
There are no hostages, no public, and
power
no
of writing.
killing.
The power of writing and plotting, and I don't like it when I can, like, for example, in the writer's room, did anyone say, why wouldn't these guys just kill each other right away?
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, that's a good point. Let's work this out. But apparently no one did that.
Either that or they were shut down. They were just said...
No one's going to think about that.
Maybe that, or just we need this to happen to get to something else.
I mean, it's also kind of abrupt in the way it was even set up. I mean, I guess they filled in halfway through the episode, but how did we get here? Why are we there? What was the negotiations that took place? It's, this was all Andrea's idea. When did they, because like last time I noticed, Rick wasn't much interested in, what she had to say in her peace offerings, and the governor was not either. So.
Yeah, so we have some emails about that. I'm not sure if I moved one of those to spoilers or not.
Okay.
But we will definitely talk about that when we get there. Graham writes in, pretty good episode, been pretty much the calm before the storm. From good dialogue between Rick and the governor, Daryl and Martinez competing to be the bigger badass, and Milton's strange stump fetish. Only real issue I had was Glenn and Maggie's little fun in the garage scene. It could have been way shorter and much less. Where's the fun in that?
Yeah, I'm not the.
I see. He transposes these. It could have been much more detailed and way shorter, or way longer. There you go. Oysen writes in, Merle said, your dad's head could be on a pike. Foreshadowing? Yeah, you think Rick's head's going to end up on a pike?
I don't know. No, he's not. No.
All right.
He's the star of the show. He's got the strongest character shields this side of Carl Jr. I don't even know what I would say if they killed Rick at this point.
Wait. What is this? Wait. Did he just call Daryl motherfucking Dixon a pussy? Did he? Who? Merle called Glenn one.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I remember that.
Martinez called him. Well, I mean, so Daryl called him a douche. Martinez called him what? Let me scroll.
He might have
thought
called
I
him
wrote
pussy.
it down.
I don't know. But he asks if Zombie Kill of the Week goes to Daryl's knife throw.
I just told him to shut his mouth. I don't know. Maybe.
I think maybe Zombie Kill of the Week is going to go to Martinez.
I was going to say that's a
pretty
baseball
savage
to the
up against the silo.
Yeah. That was
nasty.
really nice.
What about Idiot Survivor? It's got to go to Rick, right?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I think our skit made that clear what we thought of that.
Okay, good. We are in agreement. Sully from Boston says, got to give them credit for opening the show with Rick and Governor meeting. There was no logic for Rick to agree to this, but by having him just show up in 1 minute, we were spared a pointless Rick group debate or questionable reasoning. It happened. Deal.
Yeah, that's actually not that's not a bad point either.
Yeah.
Like, okay, why show the boring stuff? If they had done that, we'd probably been like, oh my God, get to the point.
Definitely.
Although they did leave them awful far apart to where, I think they could have put a few breadcrumbs using 30 seconds of last episode to make those questions go away, make it feel like, everything kind of connected.
Yeah, probably. He goes on, if the governor's number one goal is to get Michonne, it's plausible that the governor shows up at the rendezvous again and does not kill Rick despite the presence of Chekhov's under-table gun. But come on, hasn't Rick seen The Godfather? It's ambush 101. You did not let the other guy pick the location. He already did, for one.
Right.
I would believe that he's stupid enough to do it again.
Yeah. I mean, again, how good of a leader / tactician do we think Rick is at this point?
Not great.
No.
I think he needs to let Glenn manage the logistics and tactics.
I mean, he got lucky that when he invaded the prison group, that number one, he had a field guide, and number two, they're in the middle of this raucous, kind of celebration thing. Or were they?
Yeah.
Weren't they? Weren't they doing something down at the People Pit?
The People Pit?
Yeah.
Screamer Pits?
No, not the Screamer Pits. The
Talking about in the prison?
no,
Inside the gates?
I'm
I don't know what you're
I'm
talking
sorry.
about.
Yeah,
All right.
I don't actually think I got. They got lucky in that they had someone to kind of lead them.
Yeah, gotcha.
I was familiar with their place.
Mike in Texas says, I must come to Andrew Lincoln's defense. Oh, on his portrayal of a Georgian accent.
Really?
I grew up in Mississippi and live in Texas, both Southern, and my wife spent her summers in Georgia for most of her youth. With this experience in mind, we both have to say, we know people who have those accents. My brother is even worse than Rick's.
Are
No
they
shit.
ex-British?
It's part of living in the Deep South. So I don't have a huge problem with Rick's accent most of the time. It's when he gets really excited. Like, you know me! He totally
right,
breaks
right.
his accent all over the place.
You did this, not more.
Yeah.
He's talking to
It's
Shane.
so bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
Plus,
But
it's
most
just
of the time
fun.
he's fine.
It's
yeah.
fun.
Yeah, we mostly dog on him because he's a Brit trying to do a Southern American accent.
Right. What would that be the equivalent for us? Because, British are more...
Us trying to do a British accent.
No, but because that's like, I feel like they're higher class downshifting. But going to like a deep South Georgian accent is like a, I'm trying to think of like what would Americans see as doing that?
I think you're going to offend anybody who you name.
Am
here.
I?
Pretty much anybody, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I should
I don't think you
probably
want to go
stop. I should
there.
slowly back up.
I think you should. As a matter of fact, I'm turning off your mic.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't have that power, listeners. Mike D writes, just wanted to put my 2 cents into this episode. Overall, I thought it was a good episode. Not the best, but still good. Hey, it wouldn't be The Walking Dead without the bullshit of Rick drinking from the enemy, would it? Besides that, I didn't find anything else wrong with it. Besides Merle being allowed to walk around so freely. So
With all those guns.
here he is. He points out a flaw. Didn't have any other problems except for this flaw. I love that. He'd give it a 7.5 out of 10. In Zombie Kill of the Week, he would either give to Martinez or possibly Andrea for the melee kills. Andrea with the knife through the eye? Nah. Martinez with a bat against the silo is better. Andrea seems to be turning around tenfold by the look of next week's episode. Like Aaron, I was one of those defending her in the first half and then stopped when the second half started. Until she visited the prison, I'm back on the Andrea train again. People are calling her stupid after this episode, but I don't see how she is. She and Herschel definitely talked about something. I thought it was obvious the way that they looked at each other before she went in the car. And when she told the governor, hope it works out, she was obviously distrusting of him, and the governor knows that. I know it gets annoying watching her want to protect all of those people, but it was also annoying when Dale did too. And we all love to see Dale die as well. To me, it's a theme that you obviously can't have that mentality, and she does, until next episode, possibly. I think this is when some of the fans will enjoy her character a lot more. Sorry for minor spoilers there, but, she's obviously had a change of heart at this point.
We're waiting to see how it pays out.
Yep.
Plays out.
Tom from Melbourne. What's up, guys? Here's my feedback for this week. I'd really describe this week as a solid, quote-unquote, episode. One gripe about the premise, however, Andrea said she set this meeting up. I don't recall her doing that in episode 11 at the prison outside, saying, you need to talk this out. Yeah, we kind of talked about that already. Seeing the Rick and the governor suss each other out with bullshit was entertaining enough, but what really did it for me was seeing the supporting players from each side interact. Daryl and Martinez becoming frenemies and trying to one-up each other was a high point of the episode, with my vote for Zombie Kill of the Week going to Martinez Metal Sandwich. I like that. Metal Sandwich.
Do you think... how could it... I don't know. I keep on thinking, how could this played out better? I just feel like with all the hidden guns and kind of tricks and stuff that was going on, that once they sat down at a table, it just felt like the governor had his way. And And this felt contrived in the sense that I really feel in the real world someone would have left that room dead.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I would say, if it weren't for the very last scene, that Rick actually did get a lot out of that. Like, he now understands where the governor's coming from. But then he says, what if? Mm-hmm. What if this is not a trick? Mm-hmm. Could we end it all right now?
Yeah. But that's
He's
impossible.
A fool.
That's really dumb.
Yeah. But at the same time, I see how he really wants that to be true.
I understand that too.
He desperately wants to just go back to how it was.
So, do you think this will be... that this is obviously... I don't think this is a spoiler to say that there's probably going to be some more people die in the climactic battle.
Yep. Milton being one of them?
Hopefully, says my liver.
He survived another episode.
But the writing's on the wall for that fucker now. Meanie Teckle Parson.
Yeah, Morgan put it there.
I think that... Oh, shit, you just derailed me, man.
Sorry.
Damn it, what was I saying?
So I was talking about how Rick
so I don't think, it's like, because we've always said, when is Rick going to have to turn into hard-boiled badass and never look back?
Yeah.
We thought that was at the end of, the mid-season finale last year.
Then he went crazy.
And then at the dictatorship, and then he went crazy. Do you think this moment of this, and it's hard to argue that this is not a moment of weakness. So I got some takes on Facebook that I want to read on at the end of yours. Mm-hmm. Do you think this will be the last moment of weakness? People are going to die in this prison raid, and then finally we'll get a no compromise strong leader Rick.
I don't know what does a no compromise strong leader Rick entail. I mean, is that the governor? Is that what we want to see Rick be?
Like just going into the governor and just shooting him in the head.
Yeah,
like just
you
might.
Doing what needs to be
there's a
done.
Slight chance you could be good and you could avoid this without bloodshed, but there's 100% chance I can splatter your brains on a wall right now.
That's Shane from season 1. Honestly, I mean, there was a lot of that in Shane, and I liked that.
There was a lot we liked. I mean,
yeah, we talked about Shane in this kind of dual role, as antagonist.
He's a
and
sociopathic rapist, but he had a little bit of that survivor edge, where it's like my tribe is. And my family, even above my tribe, is the most important thing.
And I think once he saw what became of Shane and what he had to do to Shane, that kind of sucked that part out of him a little bit more.
Well, the other argument is
if you go
100% Shane mode, there's got to be some kind of blend.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to trust enough people to... you got to trust your instincts that you're going to have good people, and those instincts have to be right. Because if you don't trust anyone, your group is just going to get smaller and smaller and smaller until you're all dead. You got to pick the right people and treat them right with the right amount of respect and toughness and leadership. And I want to see kind of, I want to see the evolution take place.
Well, I think we've seen that in this group, right? Now we've got this group of people who all trust each other.
Right.
Rick's just lending too much trust to this guy who is obviously untrustworthy.
Yeah.
And I feel like the sentiment there is right. Like, I don't want to do these horrible things. They need to be done, but what if? But we just know too much about the governor being an asshole. If it was somebody who maybe they had played as not necessarily being a straight-up liar and bastard all the time, maybe we could. Like, maybe if they'd gone a little bit more in the direction of maybe the governor's not such a bad guy. Maybe that would make the coin toss a little bit more fair.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they gave too many hints of his villainous nature in the first half of the season.
You think so?
Yeah, and we've had enough dead space in this half. Because remember how action-packed last season was.
Last season?
The
first
Jesus
half.
Christ,
the first
3.0.
Yeah, definitely.
And we were talking like, man, what a breakneck pace. And I even said, I think maybe in the spoiler section, like, I'm really worried that they're burning through a lot of this plot fast.
Yeah.
What if they had saved like the National Guard thing for this half of the season?
Yeah.
So now he's stockpiling too, but he's not going back and taking these.
And that solves a lot of problems with Andrea too.
And it also think about how much nicer a contrast that'd be. The governor ambushes and kills these soldiers for his weapon. Rick goes back, tries to save his friend.
Yeah.
And walks away with the weapons peaceably.
Yeah.
So it's like that would have been a cool thing, and we would have been more on the fence, and it would have been, I think, almost kind of cooler to have the governor have this switch thrown. when the you know,
Yeah, it's
we'd
hard
have
to
been more
say.
ambivalent. Maybe they're afraid to be too ambivalent that we'd be like, wow,
Yeah.
man, Team Rick. So, like I said, it's hard to fault the first half of the season, but maybe they should have saved some of those beats, those really
You
villainous
could almost
beats.
play Rick like he's in the governor's role, like he's the crazy one who's
Yeah.
kind of bloodthirsty,
Right.
and then switch it on him.
And I liked how they did that with
Shyamalan our asses.
I liked how they did that with, because they did do that with Tyrese's group.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
All right. Moving on. Rob says, I was pretty let down by Rick and the governor's confrontation. The way they cut back and forth between the two of them, the prison, and the others outside the building made it hard to stay focused on the intensity of the scene. Yeah, I totally agree, Rob. I wish they would have given those two a solid 15-minute scene together instead of cutting it up like they did. Also, he's starting to question the casting of David Morrissey as the governor as of late.
Yep.
I don't know. I question the writing of the governor. I think David Morrissey could pull it off given a better written character.
He could be better written, but on the other hand, he also could do a better job with what he's given, I think. He's had some nice beats here and there, but...
Interesting fact about that scene, Morrissey and Lincoln both said that they did not rehearse that scene, and I think it shows.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's why they had to cut it up.
We didn't rehearse this podcast.
I don't know. I just... They sit down and it feels... They said, oh, we were just kind of... We sat down in character and we just felt each other out through there, and it feels like that's what happened.
Yeah, for sure.
Alex L says, "Hey dudes, so the Harley that Daryl drives is extremely loud and can be easily heard a quarter mile away. It has always bothered me that no one on the show has addressed it. Wanted to know your thoughts." Yes, that is something that we have talked about before.
Yeah.
Daryl rolls down the street like he's on a on a tricycle when he's actually on the loudest vehicle on the planet.
Yeah. And also, like, that's kind of a liability as well, because what happens if he just runs off the road and dies? I mean, I'm a motorcyclist. I love them myself. I go back and forth, but, you know, on the one hand, they're going to do a bang-up job moving around all these random traffic jams, post-apocalyptic traffic jams we see in Georgia. But on the other hand...
Yep.
You know, I guess it was a decent scout vehicle, except for the fact that, yeah, you can hear it coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
So
now there's nothing good about that vehicle except for how badass it makes him look. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing. The other thing that Alex says or asks is, also now that Axel is dead, I was hoping you would let us know what his character was like in the comics. Do you have any insight there? Do you want to reveal that, or do you want to keep that for people who want to read the comics?
Honestly,
can we move that to spoilers?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
But honestly, I don't have a real strong impression of his character in the comics either.
Oh, okay. I was under the impression that you had read through that part.
I have. I've read. I'm current on The Walking Dead now.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, there's certainly events that happen with him that are crazy.
That was 60-some issues ago.
Yeah, but you still remember some of the crazy events that happened with him, right? There was some weird stuff that went on.
Really?
Okay. If you can remember by the time we get to spoilers,
I'll tell you what. I between the spoiler section, I will hit up the Walking Dead wiki and see if it jogs my memory.
Cool. Ruben from Boston says, I think you guys need another Fiesta cast for the day that Andrea finally dies. Sorry, that was a one-time deal. Lori was a really bad offender.
Yeah, and, you know, she's got it was the Lifetime Achievement Award. She had been, irritating us for a long fucking time.
He does say, in lieu of that, I hope you guys do some lip service on your upcoming podcast about how irredeemably bad she has become. I think we're both kind of leaning towards the other direction. She's on Team Rick again, and she's been redeemed.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really particularly care for it at this point. But they could turn. I mean, she
it
hasn't pissed me off as bad
right?
as last year. So
no, it was another Sophia situation.
Yeah,
where it just went on a little too long.
Yeah. I said, I'll give her 2 or 3 episodes after the break coming back, and they took way too many. In fact, still ongoing.
Yeah. Nick M. from Illinois says, hey guys, this week's episode was very entertaining. I was left with 2 big questions, and maybe you guys can talk about it on your show. one of those questions I moved to spoilers because it was spoilerific.
All right.
The other one is, how did the governor know about Rick's guns and ammo run?
Like I said, I mean, I think they've established the fact that the prison is being watched.
Yes.
Right?
And someone was certainly following them, apparently. Staffa writes in with a quick remark. Friend of the show, Staffa. I love the bonding moment between Rick and the governor when they both agree that Andrea is worthless.
That was a nice
They
moment.
totally just dismiss her out of hand. It's hilarious.
It's very bromo.
Evan C. from Houston says, apparently he sent 2 emails and got them all read. It's too late, says the governor. It was already in the glass, not in the jar. Rick dies at the table as Philip reveals that his last name is actually a spoiler that I'm not going to drop on people.
Is it justified spoiler?
Yes.
All right.
On that note, I'd love to see Raylan Givens and the rest of Harlan County thrown into the zombie apocalypse. Most of them have lost more of their humanity in the real world than the survivors on The Walking Dead. The possibilities would be endless. God, I would love to see Raylan.
Boyd as the governor? Walton Goggins as the governor?
Incredible.
Oh, fuck. Why didn't they do that?
Incredible. That would have been fantastic.
He can't do 2 series at once.
No, he can't,
But
unfortunately.
God, he would have rocked that so hard.
Yeah, he would. People who have not seen Justified, go watch Justified.
I'm getting
It's really good.
Boyd boner just thinking about it.
Amy Baker says, someone's probably already written in about this, but I'm pretty sure Morgan's board that said clear, and his saying he needed to clear meant clear out the walkers that were stuck in his traps. He seemed to have different sections color-coded, too. That could be true.
Yeah.
I didn't go back and look at the map that was on the wall, but he may have had different colors. Because I know clear was written in a whole bunch of colors.
Yeah, like this is my job, new mission in life.
Also, Rick's accent was so bad this episode that every time he said Carl, it sounded like curl.
Curl.
Virginia D says, no, Morgan was not from the same area/town that Rick was. In the first episode, Rick recognizes the house that he wakes up in and tells Morgan this is so-and-so's house. She can't remember the names. Anyway, Morgan said that he never knows them, or that he never knew them. The house was empty when he found it. In that episode, it comes out that Morgan, wife, and Dwayne were passing through on their way to Atlanta when Morgan's wife was bitten and feverish and ultimately died. Morgan couldn't bring himself to move on to Atlanta at that point.
Yep.
So, good stuff. Thank you for correcting us. Thaisa says, just listen to your last podcast. Thought I might share my thoughts about Morgan being a native of King County. I don't think he is. In the pilot, he found, the same thing. Never mind. sorry, Thaisa, but I can't read the rest of that. Sean W. says, the moral uncertainty highlighted by the backpacker scenario reminded me of these moral dilemma thought experiments put forth by Mark Hauser. Sounds German. Each variation centered around the imminent death of an individual by a train or trolley. The experimentee was supposed to decide whether they would intervene or not, each decision harboring another set of fatal consequences. It's pretty interesting, and I think it directly applies to how we feel about the scene in Clear. I remember it from a Richard Dawkins book. In it, he outlines why we feel this way biologically as an argument for evolution. Perhaps the show is being a little more sophisticated than we think by playing with our perspective on this as an audience versus what we may in fact do in the zombie apocalypse. I don't know for sure, but anyhow, here are some sources on the subject, and he gives a couple of links.
He
jokingly says, by the way, the websites are pretty slick, don't you think? Because they all look like GeoCity sites.
Yeah. Well, a lot of that stuff, like, I guess you would say, what's the learned word for like professors in university? Academic. A lot of like academic stuff is got that like old school feel.
A lot of academic stuff feels old school?
Yeah, kind of like essays and whatnot.
Well, the world hasn't really done any thinking since like 1800s. We've done too much reality television, not enough thinking. We've produced too many episodes of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Not enough Mad Men.
And Jersey Shore.
Yeah. Michelle, hey guys, I'm 14
How
minutes
would the cast of Jersey Shore survive?
Oh, Jesus. Probably pretty well. They'd just be boozed up, passed out.
The zombies wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah.
They would just ignore them.
What is this orange meatball walking around?
It's obviously not human flesh. It's made out of sherbet.
I'm 14 minutes into the podcast. Had to put iTunes on pause to bring up a point that I've heard brought up this week on a couple of other Walking Dead podcasts. Now we know that Rick is supposed to work in a fictional King County, presumably just outside of Atlanta. Some astute listeners commented in the other podcast that how does Rick not know about the prison in the general vicinity? Especially as he is the sheriff of the police force in all of King County.
Didn't I say that too?
Yeah, I think you did. Another listener pointed out on Jason and Karen's Walking Dead cast that Rick and Morgan had also already emptied out the police station's armory in the series pilot, which feels like eons ago, so there would be no weapons cache for Rick to rely upon. And apparently he forgot that.
Well, maybe there's 2 stashes? I don't know.
I don't know. She says she'd have to watch episode 1 again to make sure that's accurate because she can't remember. And neither can we.
Kind of a pretty big fuck up if they did fuck that up.
Yeah, no kidding. That's it. That was the last of the emails. Do some outro stuff?
No, actually, I want to read two from Facebook. One from Jason Schenkel of the Nattercast. Said, this is just pathetic. It's one thing to find yourself trapped on a farm for a whole season because you can only afford one location, but Rick versus the governor could have been so much better with what they had. This is what happens when you switch showrunners too often. I'm not scared of the governor, and I don't understand why no one will kill him. His leadership is based on charisma, not deep personal loyalty. No one will avenge him, and no one in Woodbury seems interested in fighting to the last man. All true. Rick needs to get the upper hand here. He's right. The governor's personal sense of vendetta is his weakness, so use it. The play here is to ride up on Woodbury with one of those Blues Brothers loudspeaker cars shouting, neutralize the governor and we can live together in peace. We're on the same side. There's nothing worth fighting over. There's plenty of room for everyone. Anyone who wants to help us clear out the prison gets dibs on the best bunks for when the next hurricane hits. He's made a joke about, since we've been riffing on the Georgian winters, he's going on to Georgian hurricanes.
Nice.
There's room for like 2,000 people in there. No reason for anyone to be a douche nozzle about this. We'll turn Rick over to you, and you turn the governor over to us. That's the plan. What do you think about that?
So they're going to swap leaders? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I mean, they kind of... didn't we have a user a couple weeks ago saying that they should do that they should depose Rick and the governor and then have a new triumvirate of, wasn't it Herschel, Daryl, and Glenn as the new rulers?
Yeah.
So Philip Z said, I have a much different take on the final scene between Rick and Herschel. I think it's a continuation of the previous scenes that we've seen after Lori's death, where Herschel has reached out to Rick asking him to share the burden that he's taken on as leader of the group. Rick is facing one of the most difficult and dangerous decisions to date by going to war against a bigger, albeit less competent force, and it has to weigh heavily on his mind. Herschel's already said that he thinks they should go on the road, even though one of his reasons they're staying in the prison is because he's not as mobile as he used to be, but will stand with Rick in the group. He's also the central spiritual character in the show, and as the only other parent in the group, Rick probably sees him as having the most to lose if he makes the wrong decisions. If anyone has the moral authority to challenge the wisdom of Rick's decision, it's Herschel. What Rick was really asking for is for Rick to make the best argument, what Rick was really asking for was a Herschel to make the best argument that he can that Rick should sacrifice Michonne for the good of the group, and if not, give Rick almost a sort of absolution for making the decision to set them on the path to war.
So like Rick doesn't want to make the decision by himself.
Or he's
seeking... Yeah, absolutely.
Like, this is your family, your daughter's here too. Should we give up this person? And if not, will you then forgive me and wash my hands of what comes next? Yeah,
and I mean, that kind of also goes along the lines of taking Merle in and telling Daryl, look, this is your thing. If this goes wrong, I'm not taking responsibility. He kind of wants to get off the hook a little bit.
Finally, Brad D said, did anyone else notice the symbolism with the glasses of whiskey? Once Rick finishes his, he turns the glass upside down, meaning he wants to fight anyone who wishes to challenge him. Is that a thing?
I feel like it is.
Oh, you just said that. Like, I thought it's like, oh, you knew what was going on here.
No. I saw the glass upside down, and what I thought is, because I didn't see the first time, I didn't watch him drink it.
Does that mean
writing notes?
Does that mean Marion in the first Indiana Jones wanted to fight that Himalayan dude? Because she was mad turning those glasses upside down.
Yeah, she was. I don't know, man. I've never heard of it, but I feel like it could be a thing.
Okay.
That it?
Yes.
All right, hit us with an outro.
If you want to give us more feedback, even more feedback, do so at watchingdead@baldmove.com, or you can like me and follow on our weekly show thread for all of our TV that we do on facebook.com/baldmove. You can follow Jim at Twitter or twitter.com/baldmove, and that's it. You know, I actually did forget a couple
emails,
of things. No.
iTunes
reviews.
Yeah,
Please
there
give
we
us.
go.
We need more iTunes reviews. We need people to use the Amazon affiliate link at amazon.baldmove.com. Both those things are huge in supporting our cast. One helps pay the bills, and one helps grow the show. And if you would like to be a part of that happening, please do those things.
Okay. And that's it. We will see you guys.
Very light spoilers. So
Yep.
if you're caught up on the comics and all that, you can survive the spoiler music.
Yeah. So we will see you after the spoilers if you care to stay tuned for those. And if not, until next time, I'm Jim.
And I'm Aaron. See you in the spoilers.
And we're back with the spoiler section. We're not going to run the clip for next week. We've decided it's pointless.
And lame. It's actually getting to be a pain to find those things, man. Because usually you go to.
is it?
Yeah, I don't know why AMC's website doesn't have it. I should be able to go there and look at the 20-second promo, but I have to go to Amazon, YouTube, and half the time this content's been taken down at the request of the copyright holders, and it's like bullshit.
Why do you take down an ad?
Right?
We're trying to spread your ad around the internet.
Yeah. Who gives a shit? And again,
That's the
I
dumbest
guess
thing
if
I've
it
ever
was
heard.
on AMC, I could understand. But all right.
Wow.
I'm reading the spoiler emails.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring it.
Kyle Sweet from Australia says, I'm pretty new to your podcast. I picked it up after season 3, episode 9, The Suicide King. He really enjoys the depth we talk about the episode, but he has a question. We all know that Carl has that chance of when he grows up of turning into the governor or a worse version, and now in the comic, Carl's also missing his eye and wears a patch. Do you think Kirkman did this on purpose?
Oh, I didn't know that Carl was missing an eye and had a patch. How did that happen?
He gets his eye shot out.
Shot out?
Yeah, so
How do you get your eye shot out without dying?
So they make it seem as if the bullet entered here and then kind of came out like here. So
Just
it
went
like
around his skull?
it went through his sinuses and all that stuff. There's not a lot of brain there.
Yeah.
But it's a gruesome injury.
Ouch.
And of course he almost died. It's kind of a miracle he didn't. But yeah, now that he mentions it,
I like that.
Is this the rise of the governor part 2? Mm-hmm. I don't know, because Kirkman has been on record as saying that this is ultimately Carl's story. So what do we know about Kirkman? He seems to be a peddler of misery.
Yeah.
So I could see him, it would be, is this like a Luke Skywalker? Is this a Star Wars thing where we've got the rise of the Chosen One, which is Carl, and then later some callow youth that turns out Carl fathered will overthrow him as the Emperor cackles on? I don't know.
Wow. If Carl ends up shooting lightning from his hands, I'm out. That's it. I'm done.
What if Rick shoots lightning into Carl?
Okay, I can deal with that.
You can get down to that? Okay. Oisin, or Oisin?
I call it Oisin.
Oisin D says, what if Morgan tries to find a prison to get to Rick but stumbles upon Woodbury? He tells the governor about Rick and that they are friends. The governor cuts off Morgan's head instead of Tyrese's. He'd know that Rick knows him and that Rick cares about him. Also, the guy who plays Morgan is scheduled to be in episode 16. Oh, fuck.
Boom! Lenny James coming back.
Oh, fuck. If that's not a
Yeah.
flashback, then I could very well see that.
Yeah.
The governor striding in with Morgan's head, looking for this.
Wow. Send Rick back over the edge and have him give up his position.
Yeah, that could be the pre-credits action sequence. Wow.
I've got a spoiler for your liver, too.
Oh?
Poindexter's in the last one. I don't know if he lives.
Liver's on DEFCON
but
5.
he makes it to 16.
You can't hear, but my liver just flipped over my belt, much like a baby. It just flipped. It just turned. It's in the breech position.
Yep.
Tom has some spoiler speculation for us. The original title for next week's episode was Killer Within Part 2. Is that true?
I don't know.
After seeing next week's promo, I can only imagine this is referring to Woodbury and not the prison. There seems to be a lot happening at Woodbury next episode, and Andrea and Milton seem to be in the thick of it. They're now clear about where they stand against the governor, and Andrea feels that she should kill him. About freaking time. There's talk of a deserter in the plot summary for the next episode, and I think it's most likely that for Tyrese's group. There's a brief clip of him grabbing Alan in the promo with a face saying, "Get a hold of yourself," and Andrea's warning could lead one of them to leave. In sneak peek number 2, we see the governor walk into a room with a chair in the middle and a bunch of surgical equipment surrounding it. I'm very worried that one of Tyrese's group will end up in that chair. 3 episodes left. I've not seen that.
Yeah, no, that chair is fucked.
Mm-hmm. Like Saw level fucked, Hostile level of fucked.
Hostile level fucked.
Wow.
So you didn't see the preview for next week, did you?
No, I haven't.
All right, so a listener sent, this is going to get graphic, people. A listener sent in an email with a screenshot from that scene of that chair. Next to the chair, there's a little table, like you'd see in a surgical operating room or something. There's a giant syringe. And I don't know what happens with Michonne in the comics, but I have a feeling it's fucked up because there's also a speculum next to the syringe.
Really?
Yes. Now, I know that AMC will not go there.
No, gynecological porn?
Yes.
Or torture porn?
They will not go there. Where does that go in the comics? Is that...
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me where's the speculum
No,
go?
Jesus Christ. Does it go...
No, not
as crazy
that far.
as I think it's going?
I mean, they actually go much further in showing what happens to the governor. Like
With the
all
thing in his
of
ass
what
and
they
in his eye.
all what they do to Michonne happens off screen with screams and grunts and like Glenn's facial expression of like you can imagine what he's doing to her in the next room.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of creepy. That's on the table next to him. So I am really interested to see what they do with the next episode.